Here we go. I got the message.
Okay, so
What's up,
we're
man?
live. Sorry about that, YouTube. Had some technical difficulties. Thank you guys for joining us live. SullyCortez here, talking with Stan Perry. How you doing, Stan?
What's up?
Okay, so now
How
that
you guys do?
we got the audio issues situated, uh, let's just give it a second to let some people fill in here.
Propagate. I want to be sensitive to my people. Let them know that I'm live.
Sure, yeah. And for anyone joining the live chat, we will be monitoring chat, so you can go ahead and leave some comments below.
I'm gonna flood my thing with people to get them to show up. I forgot somebody said they were watching my YouTube live last time, and I met up with them. Like, yeah, I watched the whole thing. I was like, you watched what? It was you were the only one.
Hey, what's up, Bart? Thanks for joining us. And looks like we got a few people watching. All right, great. So let's go ahead and get started. So Stan, thanks again for coming on and talking about the Canon C200, the Panasonic EVA, and a couple of other topics. Why don't you go ahead and start off and tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Stan Perry, and I used to shoot music videos. And now I just hang out in New Berlin, kicking it. I do a little bit of film stuff, not as much as I used to, because I have too many kids.
Okay.
Stick right now.
Hey, that's
kids take over my life. I've been flying the drone a lot lately, so I've been flying. My goal, fly to all these natural parks in Wisconsin, and not get the FAA called on me.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Hopefully, it doesn't happen.
Okay, so yeah, Bart's asking what was the issue with the audio loop. We had a discrete window running somewhere in the background, and it just kept playing and playing. So we just restarted the stream just to get it fresh. So for those of you joining, watching live in the replay, what we're going to be discussing today is the recent announcements of the Canon C200 and the Panasonic EVA1, however you want to say it, EVA, and a couple of other latest tech innovations that have been announced and are coming out, and some rumors as well. So first thing we'll do is we'll start off with the Canon C200. So Stan, what are your first impressions of the Canon C200? Let's kind of go through the specs and see what what your general overall thoughts are.
The C200 is I don't even like the C100, and I think that's kind of like encompasses where I think about the C200. Panasonic has a better camera, kinda. Okay, so what's the C200? I'm gonna look it up because I don't know the specs off the top of my head.
Yeah, so the C200 basically,
go ahead.
It's like I would say it's almost like a hybrid between the C100 and the C300. In fact, some could say it's better. We're looking at a Super 35 CMOS sensor. It does have the dual pixel autofocus technology, in the 5D Mark IV.
What's good about it? What's good about it?
Well,
what's good about the C100? What makes the C100 special?
For me, I haven't really used the Canon cameras that much. In fact, I actually prefer not to for several reasons. But as far as overall ergonomics go, as far as operability goes, I guess what makes it good is it's easy to use in the field. Although my experience with the C300, the original C300, it was not that easy in the field, to be honest.
Is it that good? But my question is it that good? So like, if you're gonna say Canon, you're gonna have to say the 5D Mark II. It's like that's a baseline factor. So that camera's easy to use. I shot with the C100, or somebody shot with the C100, and I was shooting with the A7S Mark II in the wedding that I shot last weekend, right? I got the C100 footage, and it was like horrible. And he had, I know he probably had L series glass on it. It just was horrible.
Yeah,
I don't,
again, the C100,
A7S,
don't forget, is a 1080p sensor.
no, C100 Mark II.
Oh.
C100 Mark II. He had that. And I didn't see anything special about it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, again, in my experience, I've primarily used, you know, the FS7, the FS5. I haven't actually used the Canon cinema line that much because, well, for one, I feel like it's inherently overpriced just because of the name, you know?
Right. I don't get it, and I want to get it. And okay, so when you say C200, I think Ursa Mini. Like I go Ursa Mini. That's where I think that falls into. Like you would say C200, Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K, and then you start seeing like these big discrepancies. You see the discrepancy with the Blackmagic is offering raw internal with SSDs.
Right.
That makes it seem ridiculous. I think the what is it? C200. What does it shoot on? What's the format?
Well, that's actually a big debate. It shoots the card. Well, first of all, the codecs that it uses are new proprietary light raw. Canon raw light is what they call it, and it also shoots MP4 and MP4 proxy. And
right, which could be cool.
It shoots
Canon raw light might be amazing.
And CFast cards.
They shoot on CFast cards.
Well, it does take one CFast. I believe one CFast card.
I thought, doesn't to use the SSD with CFast, you need two of them, right? It takes two CFast slots, and then it connects to the SSD converter.
Yeah, you could get something like the ATOC or ATOC, however you pronounce it. Yeah, you could do that.
Well, that would be the only reason to buy that camera, to run that setup. Unless you're going to be
SSDs, yeah.
Unless you want to run like ProRes, because it outputs RAW. I know that.
Yeah, they did say that in a future firmware through SDI, it will output the full 5 or whatever the sensor is. It will do RAW out of the SDI. That is correct. Yeah.
So let's go Shogun now. Now we have Shogun. Was at Atomos Shogun. Let's see well, there's a few of them. This Ninja Flame, expensive one. The Shogun 4K. Okay, so we could do Shogun, which we could bring in UHD. What is that? 10-bit ProRes 422.
Yep.
And that's on an SSD again.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I understand why there's going to be these I wear a suit and tie wedding videographers buying it. I see people, documentary style, like, yeah, I want to get everything in the thing. What is the cheapest CFast? What is the most expensive CFast card? And that should kind of CFast.
I think they are pretty pricey. These CFast 2.0 cards can get up there.
Half a terabyte of CFast memory is $1,300.
Oh my god! I didn't even realize it was that high.
That is the 3500X 525 megabit card, CFast. Shopping. I don't get it. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Even what is a knockoff CFast card? Like, okay, that is a big deal. Like, if you can't really, like, okay, if you're gonna use that, I shoot with 256 cards on my A7S Mark II. 256, 128, 120. If I'm not really, like, right now, personally, if I can't buy 4 SSDs to run off that camera, I'm not gonna run it. I'm not gonna, like, baby what I bring in.
Yeah,
I shoot.
the cost of CFast is outstanding right now. I mean, that's a half a terabyte for $1,000 is really extreme, and
That is
that's why companies like ATOC, or however you pronounce ATOC, that's why they are developing CFast to SSD to, you know, to just get rid of that cost and negate that cost, because it's just outrageous.
it is outrageous. I'm gonna see. No, it's dual card slot. It's not single card slot. The ACOT on C to S CFast SSD solution, $600, and it's two of them together. Two.
Now, do you have to use both of them, or can you use them independently? I'm not sure. I've never actually used that.
I would not use them in the. It wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't put two in there if you could use one.
Yeah,
That makes no sense.
Yeah, again, I mean, what the Blackmagic? Have you used?
No. Let me bring it back because I sound like a stupid. I don't think that Blackmagic only reads the one at a time or reads the both at the same time. I think it is single. So you're right. You can. It's a $600 solution. That seems ridiculous.
That you would have to get something like that to go straight to SSD, to just bypass that, again, hidden cost. I consider a hidden cost, because when you're just looking at the C200 at its base model with the EVF, the grip, you know, the viewfinder,
Right.
everything that it normally comes with, you're looking at $74.99 US. So that's almost $8,000.
What'd you say? That's how much is the Red Scarlet? How much is the Red Scarlet? When you're
jumping there in that kind of price range, I mean, yeah, a Red Scarlet doesn't look that far off the horizon.
No, if you're like getting that committed to that format, you would rather just go red. I mean, what are we shooting for? When you're shooting C200 Mark II, what are you shooting for? You're shooting for the best quality image with the small package. So like that's like Ursa Mini Pro with the SSDs built right in, right? Ursa Mini Pro does SSDs right in?
I'm looking it up right now just so we can actually like get this side by side. Right now the Ursa, just so that we can look at the prices. The Blackmagic Design Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K, just the body is $5,995, so about $6,000. And the C200,
another thing to keep in mind is the Blackmagic 4.6K is absolute crap when it comes to low light, and I'm 98% sure the C200 is going to be a killer. But they said that with the C100 Mark II, and I just shot with it, and it fell apart. A7S murdered it, just blew it out the water.
Yeah, I have experienced that too. Some of the Canon stuff, while it can look good, it does fall apart in lower light for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I heard that who is it, like not Philip Bloom, but the other dude who had the 5D Mark II and started going crazy. Scott something, whatever. Anyways, he was like, oh, the C100's image quality is so superior and all this stuff. And I've never really seen it. I just haven't seen it. And they say movies are being shot on it. And I get that. You could shoot the movie with your iPhone. I get that. I get it. I don't get the image quality of the C200. I get the low light maybe. I don't know enough about this. I don't know or have an understanding on why that camera is so good. And I shot twice with the C100, and twice the footage came out nasty, and it didn't compare to the A7S Mark II or the A7R. And the A7R is horrible for video. It breaks apart all over the place, and it still outshot the C100. Maybe I'm being stupid, and I'm saying blasphemous things.
I kind of agree, especially in lower light conditions. I mean, the A7S is, let's just face it, it's the god of low light. You know, it's an amazing camera for low light. And just getting back to the C200, where it's placed, and what you're getting for that price. The Blackmagic right now Mini Pro 4.6K 6,000 for the body only, C200 6,000 for the body only. And in my opinion, the Blackmagic right now is killing it image quality wise. It is the best camera for the money image quality wise, but again, it does suffer that terrible low light ability.
Yeah, but you could like then at that price point, I mean, you're okay. So if it suffers in low light, the do is if you're looking for high quality, then that's going to only fit your high quality niche. You pull good images from the low light, and then you move forward till you could afford something like, you know, a Red or a Scarlet or a what is it, that Alexa Mini, and then you start jumping into things that have more higher dynamic range. But like, yeah, I don't know why C200s are even being released. I don't know what Canon's doing. I just
it is
I'm
a little
not beating
bit,
a dead horse. I love Canon.
No, I completely agree. I started with Canon. I started with the 5D Mark II, and I was loving it back in the day. And I look back on it now, right? And I look back on it now, and it's like, maybe it was an accident, maybe it wasn't, but what they were doing at that time was so innovative and cutting edge. And I feel like now it's like they have some of their, you know, higher tier cameras that are good, but I feel like for the price, there's other options on the market that you could just do everything and then some. And then they come out with something like the C200 where it is crippled in some ways. Why do we only get RAW and then only get MP4? That is like mind-boggling to me, you know?
Right. There has to be some way where it like shifts towards the end consumer. Like, what if you're gonna spend $8,000, you shouldn't have to spend another. Again, your only way you could grab RAW right now is the Odyssey, right? The Q4 or Q8. That's the only way you could grab RAW. So you have to do that. It's SDI out, SDI in. You're adding another machine on top of your machine, and like, I just don't get it. I see that's why the Ursa's winning.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah, I get that. I get that impression too. And that kind of brings us to the kind of the second announcement recently, and that was the Panasonic EVA-1.
I like that better already. I like the name better.
Yeah, I do like the name better too. I do. It does have a nice ring to it. I don't know if they're calling it the EVA-1 or the EVA-1 or whatever, but you know, you've got your Alexas, you've got your Ursas, and now you've got your Avas. You know, it just fits right in that.
What does that record to?
So if we take a look at the specs on the Panasonic EVA.
SD, it records all this to XD or SDXC cards.
Yeah, we're looking at a 5.7K Super 35 sensor, dual native ISO, EF lens mount, 4K up to 60 FPS, 10-bit 422, and it all records to SD cards, dual SD internal, and you're getting Vlog and SDI HDMI. I don't know. What do you think about this?
Okay, so this reminds me Sony's going to be able to blow this up the water. All they have to do is take the FS7 and make an FS7 with A7S capabilities, and then you got something that can murder this. But this seems decent. If you could shoot the SD card, does it have RAW anything?
It does. It will do, in a firmware update out of the SDI, it will do 5.7K RAW.
What I like about this is dual SD card slots. Does the other one shoot SD card? Because maybe I'm just sounding like a completely mean person to the.
The C200 does support 2 SD cards, yes.
Then the C200 seems better because of that.
Because it has 2 SD cards and CFast?
Well, the SD cards could record Canon RAW Lite.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think the SD cards are fast enough to record RAW. So like the RAW in the C200, from what I am understanding,
CFast.
is that it's only to see fast because of the high megabit rate.
Never mind. So that's blown out the water. That's already out the way. Because nobody's going to buy the CFast, so the CFast is like irrelevant unless you do that upgrade to SSD, which would be logical. But is there SDI to SSD? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, I have the where is it? No, I don't have it here, but I have the even the video devices. Pixie 5 that I have supports ProRes 444. And that is at, 880 full ProRes is at like 800 and 900 megabits, somewhere around there. So that can, although it can't do RAW, it can do anything that this thing can throw at it, which is really.
So take a step back. Let's take a half a step. You still have the Pixie 5?
Yeah. Where is it?
You don't have to bring it up. I'm gonna look at it. I was interested in this, and I'm so glad that you brought it up because that shoots 444.
It does. So I've got
ProRes.
it. Right,
okay.
Yeah.
Did you just bring it up?
yeah. Got it right here. Video devices.
And it shoots ProRes 444.
Well, here's the catch. And
give me the catch.
Give it to me. They don't say this obviously, and well, they do say it in the marketing, but it's not up front. So in order to do 444 ProRes on this, it only accepts certain signals from certain cameras that do not have proprietary codecs blocking the ProRes ability to be captured. So, for example,
the C200 won't do it.
I am almost certain that if Video Devices does not come out with a firmware, I don't think it will support. It definitely won't support the RAW, but I don't know if the C200 does ProRes out of.
What does so what does that through the SDI, right?
Through the SDI.
So how are you using it? Let me ask you that.
So I use it in several different ways. The first way I use it is for monitoring my GH5, GH4, A6500, and any other camera that I may be using on any particular job that I may be shooting. Like a couple weeks ago, I used it on the FS5 because that LCD screen on that camera is just miserable.
So it's a good monitor. How many nits is it?
Yeah, it is, as far as nits, it's not the brightest monitor. I think we're talking like 400, 450. It's, it's nothing crazy. But when you put the sunshade on it, you'll be able to
it dramatically gives it that boost, and it's built-in sunshade.
It's not. It is removable, so you can remove it if you don't want it, which is really. But
it's like it comes in the box and everything.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Well, that I could consider that a package. It comes together as
the really cool thing too is that unlike certain other devices, like the Shoguns, Atomos, and other manufacturers of recorder monitors, this actually records directly to a mSATA SSD. So the moment you get your footage, you can pop it out, stick it directly in the computer, and just immediately start editing or transferring. You don't have to wait. I have to look this up. It's a smaller version of SSD, basically.
Okay, so I see those. I have that in my Drobo. I have mSATA in my Drobo, and that is competitively priced. So on eBay, I think this is bullshit. But on eBay, it's a 128 gig SSD. mSATA, 128 gig. I have
a terabyte, but yeah, they do have 128, 256.
Terabyte for $374 versus CFast, $3,000. No, what was the CFast? I forgot what it was. It was like $1,300.
Something.
That is like $1,000. That is no. That is okay. That's only for a half a terabyte. That's a full terabyte. No, okay. The Pixie is killing it. I might just buy one. And I was thinking about buying like a Shogun and all this other stuff.
Yep.
But that might be good. So if coming out of the A7S Mark II, I can go right into that via via HDMI and get 422 quality.
So out of any Sony Alpha camera, Sony unfortunately is one of those camera companies, kind of like Canon, that will cripple their cameras slightly to preserve some of the fidelity of the higher end models. Right. And out of any alpha camera, you can only get, currently, you can only get 8-bit 422, but it's still better than shooting internal because you're going directly to ProRes. Even though it's 8-bit, you're still getting ProRes, which is so much more easy to work with.
And then the internal is 420.
Yeah, internal is 420. That is correct.
8-bit 420.
Yep.
That 2-bit, I don't know if that 2 bits matter. I think I had this kind of conversation with myself a long time ago, and I thought that the 2 bits doesn't matter, but I do like the fact that ProRes is like way workable, because the Sony files at 4K are just because I still convert them when I go to Final Cut Pro. I convert my ProRes, I convert my Sony files to optimized, and then I run in my edits off of there.
Right. So just while we're on the topic, I just want to answer your question. How does this do 444 12-bit
yes.
ProRes? So it does look like the C300 Mark II out of the SDI will do full 12-bit 444 ProRes onto this. The Ursa will only do, so basically the Ursa, and I'm assuming the Ursa Mini, will only do 10-bit 422. The Alexa and the Amira will only do 10-bit 422. The, what is this? The Panasonics, yeah, the Panasonics will only do 10-bit 422. Unfortunately, this won't do 4K 60 FPS. Really hope video devices come out with a firmware update so we can get 422 10-bit 60 FPS.
444 is what's up. That's raw. That's like forget what's not raw. Have you ever had like so I shot with the Blackmagic 4K, and I shot raw, and when you take raw into the editing at 444, you could yank on those sliders all the way through, all the way. And they don't give. Like, you're all of a sudden you take the highlights down, and all of a sudden you start seeing information in the highlights that wasn't there. And you start bringing the blacks up, and all of a sudden it starts looking like it was supposed to be shot that way.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's the benefit of RAW. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Bart was actually just mentioning that in the chat. And he was saying that, you know, a lot of people who buy these cameras, they don't actually shoot RAW out of them. A lot of them don't. And while, yes, it does create a lot more storage, and we'll get on to that, we'll get onto storage and how to process all of this data. You know, as we're talking here, we've got a couple more topics that we want to discuss. But as far as like storage goes, it's like oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
No, the M.2 storage versus SSD versus CFast versus SD. Like, I like the M.2. I think if we went M.2 over SSD or over SD, I'm all about it. That's like, I like the price point. I get what I want. I get the speeds that I want. It's just like a SD card anyway. It's not like this special, you know what I mean? It's a little bit more stable. But like, I think if, okay, A9S, A7S Mark III. Let's go do it.
All right, so
I got my first thing that I want to add to it is M.2 SATA cards. That's it.
Okay, so
give me that, I'd be happy.
Let's not get confused. M.2 is a computer desktop hard drive. That's slightly different from M-SATA.
Right, M-SATA.
And very easy to confuse those two with these naming.
I want M-SATA. I want M-SATA. I want M-SATA, and I want to record to it. That's what I want.
M-SATA would be great, but
I don't want it for long-term storage. I don't want it for long-term. I want it for short-term grabs and bring it to my Drobo. And if everybody, okay, people are saying 4K is like so far. No, to me, 4K is not far away. To me, if you're not running a 20 terabyte array, or if you're not running a 40 terabyte array at this point, like you need to be, if you want to be competing in this business. I don't even, people are like, oh, I'm just going to shoot in the pocket. I'm like, nope, I'm going to shoot as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to go in, I get it to like trim down the fat, but at the exact same time, no, we need to get I need space. I want to grab this stuff. I want to edit it. And then I want to erase what I don't need. Like if I'm not going to keep it forever, I don't mind bringing in RAW, bringing to ProRes, or bringing in RAW, getting a final, and then converting to proxies, and then deleting my RAWs. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it if I can eventually go, because if I'm not going to ever revisit these files, cool. The proxies will be pure sentimental purposes only.
Right, and then as far as any footage that you actually need to use again, you've got them in a nice, rich ProRes codec that you could still work with if you really wanted to.
Still work with, and then, okay, now we have to talk some more stuff. We're not talking about actual speeds. Like people are talking, like, okay, let's say you have a Red and you're shooting a 2014 MacBook Pro. Yeah, if you don't have like really good a Drobo, like the Drobo 5D, my specs on that, I could just bring it up real quick. Not the like whatever, but it's important. Like if you're going to be shooting RAW, you have to be actually be able to deal with it. You need to be running you have to be running a RAID that could support that speed. So you need to be at like 500 up and down reads and writes. And you're not going to get that without rating. It's just kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, and that's where I lost my train of thought. That's what Bart was mentioning in the comments. He was saying that people that buy some of these cameras, they don't shoot RAW in a hidden, well, not necessarily a hidden cost, but something that people don't understand is when you buy a camera that shoots RAW and you want to shoot RAW, you need something like these Drobos and like the QNAPs and like the Synologies.
Okay, well, let's go back. Well, let me take you back two things. So you're saying like you're talking about like that 10 gigabit Ethernet stuff, and then editing.
You could use that if you wanted to, but I'm just talking just a DAS, direct attached storage, not network storage, but just direct attached storage, kind of like a Drobo.
Okay, so I have a QNAP, but mine's a NAS.
Right? Yes, they do.
I cannot edit off of it. It is super slow.
unless you've got multi-layer networks going on, there's no way that you can get the kind of speeds that you really need.
No, that thing was a horrible. I have an aggregated Nighthawk 8 X8, and I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be perfect. I'm gonna add this, and my life is gonna be. Nah, man. Nah, man. I stopped using it. I put family photos on there, and then I stopped using it. I was like, no, this is 12 terabytes for family photos.
Yeah,
and nobody uses it.
So just real quick on the Drobo, I always feel like Drobos are a little scary because from what I hear, if the brain dies, the proprietary format that the footage or files or whatever is stored in cannot be accessed unless you get another brain. Is that true?
Yeah, they stay. Basically, you have to take them and put them into another Drobo, and then your footage pops up. But they're based off of that they're like a fist, and then you only could access the data off of this fist. You only can open that fist when it goes back into another Drobo. Okay, so
that's not too bad as long as the company is around and isn't just going to fail tomorrow.
Right. No, it's good for like, okay, so let's say that you had original Drobo and then you want to go to the Drobo, a new version of the Drobo. You could take the disc out of the original Drobo, stick it in the new Drobo, and get your files. Like your files are right there.
That's a great.
You know what I mean?
I mean that to me.
That's how
That's secure.
Yeah, me too. I run them over Thunderbolt. I'm running the new MacBook Pro, so the Thunderbolt. I'm running the Thunderbolt downstepper, the USB Type C Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
To Thunderbolt 2.
Yeah.
And I got decent speeds. I'm still editing 4K great. So like Bart, I'm just like you. I'm loving it. I want to buy another Drobo. Like I'm really thinking that's the way to go, and then just like kind of upgrade them slowly. And then what I just bought there. Oh, give me 1 second. while we're on the subject, I bought this thing. It's a G Master SSD.
Oh yes,
and I'm getting
technologies. Yes.
Yeah, this thing is dope. It actually gave me 450 ups and downs, and it's more stable than the Drobo. And the speed testing that I did, when I cover over 4K footage and I'm just scrubbing it like a stupid, it all of a sudden it's just like responding across the board. There's like no latency while I'm scrubbing, and I love it.
That's awesome. That's
so yeah,
good.
Basically when you're talking about grabbing all these new cameras, you have to it has to be coincided with what do you edit off of, how do you edit, what are you using for storage, and how you output it with your computer. Like if you're just looking to buy a camera just so you could have a Red, I know people who had Red, and when they first bought it, they downgraded all the footage to ProRes, and I was just like, okay, that's all you're gonna, because your computer can't handle it.
Right, yeah, Red Cine.
Like, you can't whatchamacallit sit here and like, if you're gonna buy the camera, you should be able to afford the computer to go with it. All these cameras are computer dependent. They're at a certain, if you don't have the right computer, you're not editing, you're not doing anything with that camera, so pissing yourself off. It's like, okay, it's like having the difference between an electric car that you go forever and you don't have to pay a lot of money for gas versus the time that it would take you and the money it would take you to buy to put in 11 mile per gallon, like my Yukon XL. Like, it's just, you're wasting all this time and energy. Like, I keep spending $80 to go to the gas station when I should be, doing something a little bit more efficient. I would love to step down to a better car so I could move more easily. You're not going to move as fast with these big expensive cameras, and you can't even afford the storage or anything. You're just bogging yourself down.
Right. Yeah. That's something that I feel like a lot of people that want to buy these cameras, they don't understand or realize that, or let alone utilize it to its full potential. Very few owners that I find actually, again, something even like the Ursa Mini Pro, actually use the RAW to its full potential.
Oh my God. If I'm going to shoot, that's why my friend keeps like saying, Stan, just get the 4K Blackmagic and use it in the pocket, because you'll be able to utilize the full 4K of it. You'll be able to see celebrate the full gambit of the color space that you're actually in. And I never understood it because I was shooting the 5D Mark II and the 5D Mark III. And I'm thinking, okay, you shoot in the pocket, you get your image, and if it looks good, you go into your editing system, you export it, and it looks good. I didn't realize that there's so much more information. It's not for every shoot, though. Shooting RAW is not for every shoot.
No. You shoot, in my opinion, you shoot the most critical, most flexible jobs in RAW, and everything else in ProRes. That's just my 2 cents.
Right. Saying the C200 proxy option is going to help.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. That is something that it does have. I don't know what the EVA is going.
Why would, if you shoot in proxy? I mean, again, shoot yourself in the face. I mean, I
edit in proxy, but I don't shoot in proxy.
I would never shoot in proxy. That sounds like a bad idea. I think the Pocket Cinema shoots in proxy, ProRes or something.
I don't know what it.
But that's like an upgrade for it.
But I think that was like an upgrade for it. One cool feature of the Pixie, by the way, is that you can shoot in ProRes up to full ProRes 444 12-bit and H.264 proxy compression to hand off to a client immediately if you wanted to at the same time, which can be helpful. Right. So I can understand how the C200 could have that, as a huge benefit for some people.
Shooting ProRes regular, I'm with that. I could dig that. ProRes is dope. ProRes proxy, I'm not about that. Like, might as well be shooting H.264. I know it's better. Don't chastise me in the comments. I know it's better. I'm just saying. Just saying. Why even?
So I know one of the comments I'm probably going to get on this video is going to be, you know, why would I look at the C200? Why would I look at the Panasonic EVA1? Why would I look at the FS5 II, the A7S III? Why, or if I'm using something like the GH5, if I'm using something like the A6500, why would I want to upgrade?
We should talk about the GH5, but yeah, let's go.
All right, let's talk about the GH5.
Yeah, like no, out of all those cameras, you got the GH5.
I do.
That seems like the logical step for anybody trying to take this to the next level. Like I'm selling my A7R Mark II. That's gonna go in the next 2 months. I'm pretty sure that's gone.
The A7R Mark II is versatile in the sense that you can shoot full frame and then crop in to Super 35 if you wanted to.
You do the same thing with the A7S. I do it all the time.
Does that actually window the sensor, or does it actually crop down to, you know, not use the full pixel readout? Does it actually do?
I don't know. I know that it does. For me, it does the same thing as the A7R. Like when I do the same thing when I do CPSC mode, does the same thing. It just crops in, and then I get you know, my 85 turns to a 100, and my 24 turns to a 35, and I get it, and I love it, and I think it's dope. But I don't think the A7R breaks apart so much, and it overheats when you're in full frame. And I'm just like, nah, I'm done. I'm cool with it.
I haven't. Again, the A6500 is kind of newer, so it's got that new overheating thing, kind of like with the A9. So I haven't experienced any overheating. And
A9 overheats?
Well, that's what we've been getting reports of. But the A9 is supposed to have an internal heat regulator that will not let it overheat and shut the camera down. The warning might come up, but there is a mode that you can enable so that it won't shut the camera down unless absolutely critical. Kind of with
the 500. That's important. Because the A7R and the A7S, if it loses power and you're in the middle of a 30-minute shot, it will erase the file.
Oh my God, that's scary. That's scary.
It doesn't commit to the card. I had it done to me like at a wedding. At a wedding, I lost like a 20-minute chunk. And the only reason why it wasn't that bad is because I had like third shooters. There was 3 cameras running, but what happened was I run a battery solution and I clipped it. Like I just uncoupled it.
Yep.
And when I uncoupled it, I looked at that file. The file didn't exist. It wasn't there. So because there's something the way that Canon you can pop out the battery, and this is like popping out the battery though. It's not just like when your battery is exhausted, it will not commit the file. If you pop out the battery, it will not commit the file. If you're using a battery solution and you untether it, it will not commit the file. That is like, it really does that. It's not a joke. It's not like, you know, they're not making it up. It really does that.
That's really scary. The Panasonic GH5, when you pull the power, what it does is it'll stop the file right where it is and just shut down.
So the same thing with the same thing with Canon. If you cut the file, it just cuts the file right there. So, you know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's really scary. The video device is Pixie 5. If you cut the power, what it does is it keeps it suspended in like a kind of like a VRAM, so that when you plug the drive back in, it'll close out that last file wherever it stopped, wherever the power got lost, or wherever the drive popped out, and you won't lose that file. Again, kind of a safety precaution. That's
big deal.
Something Sony doesn't have. Something Sony's lacking. Come on, Sony.
But Sony did. But they pushed so hard to get there, though. I feel them. They're like, yeah, we're at the beginning of this. We got some faults. I never really shot the FS7. I never shot the FS700. And the, what is it? The other one? They have a third one. The
FS5.
Yeah, the FS5. I never shot any of these, so I don't know what it's like. You know.
The FS5 is nice. It is an 8-bit camera. I believe they enabled RAW on it, if I'm not mistaken, only with their proprietary RAW box or whatever that you have to buy extra. I've used the original FS7 Mark I several times. It's a great camera. Love it. Pretty pricey, but the feature set is amazing, and the image quality again is amazing. The FS700, I've never actually used that. I think that was the other camera that you just mentioned, but
Yeah.
I haven't used that.
No, I think I want to use them. I think that they might be dope. If the A7S is so dope, these other ones seem like they're gonna, I want to shoot with them. I don't know if they're like, are they red alternatives? Are they,
I've seen some footage. I've seen some footage that is pretty comparable. Like the GH5 can cut with some of the red cameras very well.
You could cut almost any camera with another camera if you shoot it in the pocket. So I don't like that scenario. I would say that I wouldn't cut 5D or 7D footage with 5D footage ever. I think that's a bad idea. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that idea.
Yeah, no.
I would cut GoPro. Okay, check this out. I shot with the GoPro camera today, and I was thinking, hell no, I ain't using that footage. Tell me that that's supposed to be good. No. Not compared to I shoot the Phantom 4. This is a comparison test. I was like, no. As much as I wanted the Karma, now I would never use it because I know the P4P is just killing it. The Phantom 4 Pro is just like has a way superior image quality.
So while we're on the topic, one of the things that we had in the show notes, not only just the announcements of the C200 and the Panasonic EVA-1, we also wanted to talk about a few other announcements recently, and one of them is the DJI Spark. So
yes,
what are your thoughts on the Spark?
So I mentioned the Spark because I have the Phantom 4 and I had the Mavic. And I feel like the Mavic, okay, first of all, let's just get it off the table. Every drone has problems. Everyone.
Absolutely.
Everyone has problems. They all are not perfect. They're not like buying a 5D Mark II or buying an A7S Mark II or buying a C200. I think that those products they're baked in the oven pretty well. Like when you get that thing out, this came out at the right time. And some of these, like I went through one Phantom 4 Pro, maybe because it's user error and I didn't know how to calibrate it properly. And then I went to the Mavic, and the Mavic is just known to have a crappy gyro or crappy gimbal. Now that brings me to the Spark. The Spark, I think, is like not gonna mess up. They built it to be just a baseline 1080 camera with like basic little features, but they didn't cheap on it. I feel like they cheaped on the Mavic to make it small. Like, okay, the Mavic's small, so we're gonna run it.
Yeah, the Spark is quite interesting. I get the impression that, especially through some of the marketing, I get the impression that the Spark is basically made for people who don't know anything about drones. It's basically foolproof. And what I like about it, some of the features on it are really interesting. And I'm not sure why they weren't implemented in some of the bigger models, because they could be useful for some people, especially people looking to get the best quality, but maybe not necessarily are shooting the highest budget projects. Maybe just be doing YouTube, but again, might want the best quality out of the image.
It's better than a Karma.
Yeah, I definitely think it's better than the Karma right off the bat.
Yeah, for the price point that you could get at, yeah.
I mean,
I think they should sell the Karma without the drone. That would be amazing.
The footage that I've seen from the Spark is comparable to a GoPro. And
right. Well, what I would say, it's like a really small little package. Like, okay, so you would use this for throwaway footage. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be like the end all be all. You're not buying an Aspire 2 at this point. You're getting in, you're getting low. Like if you're going to get into droning, you shouldn't have to spend $1,800. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
To add this stuff, adding $500 to something that's probably going to work like a tank. Okay, now if they come all out and they're saying that all the gimbals are messed up and it has bad everything, then I'm like, cool. Most people don't want to fly an hour. I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Most people who like, and for the wedding videographer, for the music video maker, for the person who's doing small corporate stuff, this is like a perfect little, oh yeah, I could do a couple drone shots, and you're getting a low end version of it. Plus, like at the end of the day, we can move to the next topic, but at the end of the day, a drone shot's a drone shot. Nobody really understands the Inspire 2 drone shot from the Spark one.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna tell the
in
difference.
any production that I've done, anytime we've ever used drone shots, I mean, your entire project is not going to be one long drone shot or a montage of drone shots unless that's what you're actually trying to do. So you're really going to use it in small.
How many drone shots is there? How many drone shots is there?
One.
there's like 6. There's a bunch of reveals, and the one that goes up and it exposes. There's like 6 shots. So if you hit one of those 6 shots and you add it to your video, you got it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
I get what you mean. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, it's a drone, so you're only going to get that one drone image, whatever type of movement that you do within the shot. Yeah, that's obviously. But
and then another thing that I like about it, I don't think that it's going to be that hard to get it. Like when you have to grab the Phantom 4 or the Mavic, I heard the Mavic is like fits this void, but then misses its mark in production value. Like it provides all this value, you get a great 4K image, but the one that I got jiggled. And I don't think that thing is built to last. And actually, when you get the Mavic and you install it, they go, hey, get this thing for $200 and we'll replace it for $100. Like they give you this ridiculously great deal on replacing it because I feel like they know it's gonna break 100,000 times.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like that. It seems like the Mavic was marketed towards the enthusiast with some pro features, but at the end of the day, kind of just lacking a little bit overall.
The duck face girls, I thought that was hilarious.
Oh,
I think it's gonna be for a lot of like people that say, oh, I'm a photographer or I'm a videographer, and they don't make no money. And they just run around with T3. Or we're talking about the T3i guy. That's the T3i guy with the Spark.
Or the iPhone person with the Spark, yeah.
That seems dope for them, and I totally would use the Spark in a vacation setting or a non-super professional setting. In a professional setting, if I didn't have the PV4, if I didn't have it, I would have ran with that. As an introduction, be like, yeah, I'm not that serious, but I have it.
Just so that it's another in like a pro's bag, it would be a small little tool that you could use
that could fit in.
Small little,
and you can fit it in.
Yeah.
You throw it in the thing, you put it in a little box. I'm sure they'll make these great boxes. You can just toss it next to all the metal and it won't break. They get a good case for it. That's not something that, like, I don't know. I just didn't feel that way. I don't feel that way with the Phantom 4 Pro. It's too big. It is big, but I drive a Yukon, so I'm cool.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a Yukon, it would be a bigger issue. It would take up like a full size seat in the back seat. Like if your back seat holds 3 people, with the Phantom, it holds 2 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where a Mavic will be able to sit in your lap, or you could sit it on your lap, but you're gonna be like this. Like, hey, what are you guys doing? Yeah, I live right over there. What I'm saying is it will put you in a position that would be awkward where a Spark wouldn't, like, you can have a Spark in cargo shorts, be hanging out with some girls, kicking it, and have the Spark with you and throw it up one time.
Right. It seems more like a recreational, beginner's tool than a pro's tool. But again, I could see the small little value that a pro could use it for. Again, small little pickup here and there.
It got the right price point, and I feel like it's built like a hawk. I feel like that one looks like it's built well. I thought the Mavic was built well, and I was wrong.
And I do like some of the features that it has on it, like the ability to take pictures just by gestures. the ability to tell it to fly somewhere just by, again, gestures and having it recognize that.
That's scary. That's scary.
The avoidance collision on it and stuff like that. That's
avoidance collision is good. I think the fact that you could control it with, like, you could have the actual remote control on your phone. I think that's kind of dope.
Or collision avoidance. I think I had it backwards. Dyslexic today.
No, it's all good. I mean, it made complete sense to me.
So, all right. So, another thing I want to talk about.
Cargo shorts back. I'm with that. I wear cargo shorts still. I mean, I heard that it was out, but I've never been in. So, you know what I mean? Cargo shorts are in for me. Like, that's how I summer. I can't wait. It's about that time. How hot is it over there?
Where I'm at? Oh, you're talking to Bart?
No, I'm talking to you.
Oh, me? It's cold here. It should be summer right now, and it's literally 40 degrees out. It's freezing.
Oh, where do you live at?
I'm just north of New York in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. You're like, we're in Wisconsin, so it's cold too, but cargo shorts are all functionality. Man, like, when I have to go to cargo shorts to jeans, it's a horrible time of the year. Especially for Wisconsin. Wisconsin is that's, you know, I have put things in the cargo shorts. That is a functional thing. I put batteries in one end. I put live batteries in one and dead batteries in the other. You could even put SD cards in one. It's so practical.
Your wireless receiver in one.
Yes, things like that. They should make cargo pants. They probably do, but I would never wear them.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear those. Cargo shorts are okay. Cargo pants, nah, let's not go there.
No cargo pants. Might as well just join the army. Okay, what's next on the list? Okay,
so kind of in talking about the C200 and the Panasonic EVA1, what's on the horizon? What about the FS5 II, the A7S3, the rumored A9R and A9S? What are your thoughts on some of those cameras versus the ones that have just been announced?
I think that what they're going to do, hopefully, I'm a photographer, not at heart. I just did it a lot to prove a point to a group of people that don't matter. Okay, so I got the A7R Mark II, and I love it. I think it's dope. I think that they could fix the overheating issues with it, and they can make it okay. They can make it okay. I think A7R is dope. I think that they just need to fix some of the noise issues. Even in the pictures, it's noisy. If you're not in the pocket with that thing, it falls apart too. And they have, was it 8-bit RAW versus 10-bit RAW with Canon for their RAW files? I think they need to fix that, and then they'll have a real competitor. Like, that is a really great idea of a camera. They're doing a great job. They took a whole bunch of photography users from Canon and Nikon, and they converted it quick because that camera is that good. And when it's in the pocket, it's better than, I remember I had the 5D Mark III, and I bought the A7R, and I started taking pictures. I was taking pictures with the 5D Mark III, and I took a picture with the A7R, and I would never look back at the 5D Mark III as that's a quality camera for raw pictures. I would never say it again. I think it's a better camera for ergonomically and be able to use and function and have fun at a nightclub and taking pictures. A7R is horrible taking pictures in a nightclub. It was a horrible, horrible experience, but the pictures came out good. Not even good enough to justify, because but when I did portraiture with it, with a Canon 85M 1.8, I was like, oh no. The A7R Mark II is, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, I don't deserve to have this much quality in my, I don't really think they need to upgrade. I think they just need to fix some of the problems. Like, that's it. They don't need to do anything else to that camera. It doesn't need 6K. A7S though, Mark III, if that don't got 6K, if that don't kill the GH5, I'm not gonna be happy.
I've said it in several of my previous videos. I think the A7S3 is going to be a direct competitor to the GH5. And in order to do that, I feel like
it's not. I don't think it's a competitor. They're not the same. One's full frame and one's not.
Yes, that's true.
One can't shoot low light, one can.
That's absolutely true. But if we look at the operability of something like the GH5 versus the A7S II, I feel like operability-wise, you're not, when we're talking video, if the A7S line is supposed to be marketed towards videographers and people who shoot video, the operability standpoint, I don't see it yet. I don't see the ability to shoot almost any scenario with an A7S camera. It is amazing in low light, and it is amazing for bokeh and getting that full frame look.
For video, I think it looks better than the A7R. It just has so the A7R's pictures look amazing, right?
Yeah, the photos do.
The way the A7S shoots video looks like A7R's pictures.
Definitely. If you're comparing the A7R II versus the A7S II, there's hands down the A7S II picture quality as far as video is concerned is way better.
It's insane. So you're saying that the picture quality of the GH5 is better than the A7S Mark II?
I personally think so, yes. And the reason why is not because it's full frame versus micro four thirds.
That's the issue.
I think the reason why is because there's more in the codec. There's more data to be used.
Right. Yeah, they made a better codec
in the GH5 than there is the A7S II, but the A7S III has had more than enough time to see what the GH5's been doing, what Panasonic was working on, that when it comes out, I think it's really going to stomp all over the GH5, to be honest.
Right. If they do that, it's already ridiculous. Or it's already going in places the GH5 can't do. And like full frame versus crop sensor, I would never shoot crop. The only reason I love the GH5 and I won't shoot it because of the crop sensor. You know, I would buy one
that have that issue with micro four thirds. Personally, I don't mind micro four thirds, but I do a lot of the times use a speed booster to get, you know, to mimic a bigger sensor.
Right. I think, yeah, you have to do stuff like that. Like, I could see it being a third camera and being a great third camera. Like, oh, we're going to shoot this in 4K 60. Grab the GH5. We got one. And it got an EF mount on it because we did the converter and we're running. And it runs on my EF mount lens. And you have to talk lenses now too, man. Because if you're going to be jumping into like, oh, the GH5 versus the Sony, I think Sony has cleaner glass. Hands down, everything they're throwing out, it looks good. Stop that. Everything they're throwing out over $1,000 looks good. You get what you pay for.
Let's talk about the G Master lenses that have recently.
Oh, the G Master.
Yeah, if we're talking kind of, you know, Panasonic versus Sony here, G Master glass versus Panasonic glass. Well, I don't think there's any comparison there.
I think G Master does. I had the G Master 24-70 and I took it back.
Really?
Yeah, everyone was talking about how amazing it was, and I was like, it looked good, like the image quality, but the autofocus sucked so bad, and I was just like, I don't think it was the lens. I think it was the cameras.
Yeah, the A7S contrast detection. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just horrible. But like, yeah, I have a 24-70 Tamron EF, and I was like, well, if I can't use the autofocus, I'm just gonna keep this other one because it's just as sharp. You know what I mean?
I mean, the autofocus on the GH5 too, I found is just, it's really unreliable. Although I will say the firmware update that just came out for it, I don't know if they did some tweaking, but some of the settings that I've been using, it's actually been rock solid for holding onto a subject. But if you're talking actual autofocus use, it's not there.
Yeah. With the Sony, I tested out a bunch of lenses with the Sony. Like, not all of them. I didn't do the 400 one, and I tested out the 70-200 because at the Best Buy in my area, they have a Sony, like everything Sony there. So they had like all the lenses at one time. I just didn't come fast enough to test them all. But like there's certain lenses that Sony has that the autofocus just doesn't miss. And then there's other ones that it's just horrible. It's just like.
Yeah, I get that. I get
they need to fix. Okay, that's a good note that I want to add on the fix pile. Fix the goddamn autofocus. That would be amazing. That would change everything.
Well,
I like that. Or use manual lenses. I like manual lenses.
I love
Like,
manual lenses too. I use manual lenses in my docu shooting. I use manual lenses in my corporate videos. I use manual lenses 90% of the time. But those times where
This is my favorite manual lens that I ever had.
What is that?
I still keep it even though it's completely broke. It's a Sigma 28. It's Nikon with a seized-on EF adapter. So it just will never. I can't look. There's where you would use the prop it open. It's broken. This thing will never come off. And I super glued it when they started giving. I super glued it in there. So like, and it's fully manual. You have manual aperture. You have manual focus. This is an amazing lens. I think all lenses should be like that.
Yeah.
What is that? What's that one company that makes those lenses?
Rokinon?
Yeah, those are all shit. They're all horrible. Rokinon makes horrible lenses. There's Zine series that I had all this like hype about. Zine is just Rokinon lenses, regular, repackaged.
Yeah, rehoused into the cinema housing. Yeah,
it's a horrible idea.
With Rokinon has been not that great either. To be fair, I've used the 24 millimeter, the 35 millimeter, the 85 millimeter, and I think
that's a lot more than I did.
12 millimeter, and all of them had significant chromatic aberration and flaring. Even when using a matte box, even when using,
yeah, you don't have to talk about them anymore. We should never mention that name again. There's a graveyard, and now Rokinon is in the graveyard.
There's certainly no Master Primes, that's for sure.
No, and like, okay, you can't compare that to like the 80. Okay, let me see. This is the 85, the Canon 85, $400. The sharpest thing for $400 I've ever bought in my life. The Nifty 50 doesn't touch this thing.
Yeah, the Canon, some of those Canon lenses, I love Canon glass. I still have all my Canon glass. I use it on both my Sony and Panasonic. I will not get rid of it. I still think Canon makes great lenses, although they don't really make great cameras in my opinion.
The lenses Nikon's lenses are rock solid. And I love their Nightcore fully manual. That's amazing to me. That just works. I love the Nikon
2 and the 51.4 from Nikon. Ooh,
the Nightcore ones, the ones that are like super old, but yet they still go for like $700 on eBay.
Yep.
And they're radioactive. Them,
yeah.
Love those. Give me some of those. I almost got a set once, and then I kind of like backed out. I ended up buying. Okay, it just so happens I have my bag here. So I got the FE 2.8 35. I got that one. It's amazing, but the granddaddy of all of them, I don't know if I have it. I might not have it here, but it's the 55-1.8, and that thing is super sharp. I don't even want to take that off.
The Zeiss lens, the 55-1.8, yeah.
Oh my God, it's like medium format. In a lot of ways.
I hear it's one of the sharpest lenses in the entire Sony line.
You get a full set of the Rokinon Cine DS lenses, and yeah, they have chromatic aberration. Don't tell my clients. I like Bart. Bart's cool. Bart's keeping up.
Bart is cool. Bart's got some great content. I love Bart's channel. If you haven't, check out Bart Johnson Productions. He's got some good videos. Just recently did some NAB coverage.
You went to NAB? You went to NAB, Bart? Man, if I went to NAB, I'd be stealing. I want to steal everything that I saw. I'm not leaving without some of this stuff. Like, you're gonna have to you have to sponsor me. This is what's gonna have to happen.
Speaking of NAB, did anything from NAB or even Cinegear recently besides the C200 and EVA, did anything pique your interest?
From me?
Yeah, from NAB or.
I thought this NAB sucked. Nothing came out. I think they showed like some 8K TVs. That I was super disappointed. The A9 and everything. The A9 came out, and then the I don't know what came out, man. That NAB was whack. I just wanted to go there so I could get sponsored.
Yeah,
I figured that'd be the quickest way of getting sponsored is just go to NAB.
I didn't this year's NAB. I didn't really see that many exciting things. There was some cool stuff like the Lampart adapter cage. I don't know if you saw that, but basically Lampart. So like a lot of people in the mirrorless world, they have adapters, Metabones, Kip-On, a whole bunch of other type of K&F concept, whole bunch of type of other adapters. And what Lampart's done is they've created a cage for the adapter. So it basically holds the adapter in place. You can add any lens you want on the end of whatever your adapter is. And then you could just swap out the camera body nice and easy. It's not locked in by anything. It's actually suspended off of 15mm rails or 15mm studio or 19mm. It depends on whatever you want. They have all sorts of configurations. But I thought that was kind of interesting because I love when companies are out to innovate and, you know, make our jobs a lot easier
Right.
for shooters.
I think that the only one, the one that was interesting to me was, what was it? The one that was interesting to me was the one that instead of focusing using the focus ring, you focus using speed or space of flange distance. That one interests me. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. But
No,
like,
I didn't see that. That sounds pretty interesting.
yeah, I forget. I heard about this. I don't know. It probably wasn't an NAB. I'm completely going left field here. I'm Ken Griffey Jr. about to scale the wall with Bo Jackson right now. Like that's how far I'm left field with that comment.
You mean like
I
a
get it.
bellows, like a bellows focusing system? It's basically like a photography camera, like a bellows.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. I think that would be the temporary best solution for mirrorless cameras using like all these lenses. Because I think AF is such a key thing that I don't get to have access to because you know, all these lenses I got, I can't even use them.
Yeah, it's autofocus for the longest time has been a, you know, I feel like a conundrum, I guess, in the video filmmaking world. It's always been taboo. No one wants to use autofocus because for the longest time it sucked. And now with cameras like, I hate to say it, but like the Canon cameras that have the amazing.
I think that's what they have going for them was a dual autofocus.
Pixel, yeah, the dual pixel autofocus.
They were talking about that up there. Up in the comments, somebody said it, and yeah, that's the only thing that I don't want to use autofocus when I'm doing video. I prefer to have a manual lens that I could breathe with the focus into places I want to go. But you know, autofocus is kind of dope. It's really dope when you're running a gimbal.
Gimbal, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you're running a crane, and I run cranes all the time. And I basically when I do the crane, I'll put the autofocus on and put the widest lens I got on, the 35 on a A7S or A7R, and I just throw the wide, and I'll follow the bride over the crowd as she goes into the thing with a crane, just over everybody's head. And I think it's dope because I know I'm getting it in focus.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Cool. What do we got next?
So next on the list, let's talk about Apple.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of excited. Well, we just both bought the same computer, which is awesome. We confirmed that.
We are both running the 2016 latest MacBook Pro Touch. So what do you think about them announcing the new KB Lake processors and the upgraded MacBook Pro to 2017 model?
I think what they did with the MacBook Pro, that was a fail, and I'm glad it failed because I just bought one, and I was hoping that this was going to be it. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be it. They added faster SSDs. I don't think that's going to matter because nobody's editing off their main SSD. I'd never ever edit off of my main drive.
Me neither.
That new iMac is got me titillating.
That new iMac looks sick. The iMac Pro we're talking about, 27 inches, up to 18 core Intel-based, I think, Intel-based, maybe it's AMD, I can't remember, but 18 core Xeon processor, so AMD. And then as far as the GP or the memory goes, up to 128 gigs of memory.
Yeah, 128 gigs of memory. I'm with that. I'm with that seriously. I'm serious about that life. I mean, that sounds amazing to me. And I get it. A whole bunch of people are mad because it's expensive, but we're not in the cheap game. I'm just, yeah, you could build a PC, but you're going to be stuck editing only in Premiere. And I don't edit in Premiere, so I'm okay with paying the premium price point. I get it.
I use Premiere for my corporate work and some of my kind of day job client work, but everything else is Final Cut Pro on a Mac. I just love it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's revolutionary. The magnetic timeline, I can't get over that. I wish Premiere and Adobe would look at that and take a long, hard look and see why they're operating.
I don't wish. I hope they don't. I wish that the only thing I wish is that they make Final Cut Pro X for PC. Let's do it. Kill the game. Kill them.
That would be good.
If they did that, then I could go be like, yeah, I could justify buying a cheaper no, man. Mac is killing it. They're doing things right. Premiere is cool. I would do Premiere in Mac. I wouldn't. I told you I have a PC. My PC is running a 3.7 or a 3.4 processor, and I got like 64 gigs of RAM in it. And I bought it for like 800 from some Asian dude who gave it to me for a steal. It had SSD in it. And yeah, it was amazing. And I'm running I forget what graphics card I'm running. It's one of the GTXs, but the 6 gig version. And I just play video games on it. So I'm sure if I was running Premiere, it'd be faster than this MacBook Pro that I just bought.
I don't know. I was amazed. And I came from.
Did you do the Geekbench scores?
I didn't do Geekbench, but I did Real World. So basically, what I did was I shot a whole bunch of Pixie 5 high quality ProRes footage. Then I shot a whole bunch of difficult codecs, including the 5D Mark IV's MJPEG jail, as Peter Gregg likes to say. So I shot all.
Oh my God, I never heard that before.
I know, MJPEG jail, so funny. But
somebody was like, I'm gonna get the 5D Mark IV. I'm like, oh my God, never get the 5D Mark IV. That is a horrible for video.
Yeah, no, I rented it. It went back. Don't care. But anyway,
yeah, I'm reading.
So the new iMac Pro looks amazing. And what I will say is I was pleasantly surprised from the new MacBook Pro how fast my render times were increased. Coming from Premiere on an Intel i7, like the best PowerBook type thing you could get, laptop, souped up beyond belief, still was nowhere near as fast as editing on this MacBook Pro. And I can't even imagine what the iMac Pro is going to be like.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what the scores were from my 2011 MacBook Pro that I just upgraded from. It's right behind me that is creating all that double sound stuff. I think there's 2 Geekbench scores. You have like the processor Geekbench score, and if you click over, you get the what is it, what's that rendering that Adobe uses? It's like
CUDA?
CUDA cores? Well, it's something like CUDA, but what's the other one now?
Intel QuickSync?
No, not QuickSync. It's CUDA. It's CUDA. It's either you're using CUDA or you're using something else.
Oh, OpenCL or Metal? OpenCL.
So the OpenCL score in Geekbench was like 58,000 on the new one. And the old one, the 2011 one, was like 9,000. That's how big of a jump it was.
Wow.
So like what I'm saying is that's the render times that you're talking about. That's what it's based off of. That OpenCL score is at 58K. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. It was the biggest jump ever. And I'm noticing when I do exports, I'll do exports in like a minute when it would take me like 10 minutes on the other one.
I'm not even kidding. The laptop that I was using, it was supposed to be top of the line 2 years ago. It would take me 48 hours to render 25 minutes of 4K video.
That's yeah. My other one, it took me like it literally would take like 45 minutes to export a music video in 4K. Like 25, 30 minutes. Something ridiculous. I was like, I thought something was wrong with my computer.
Yeah, it would sit there and the number wouldn't change for hours.
I was like, what's
going on?
I really was like, because like 1080, I was so used to doing 1080, and I kind of like, yeah, we'll wait 7-8 minutes. I'm doing 4K edits, exports like that. Like, it's not even a minute, and they're kicking out. And I'm just like, okay. The new MacBook Pro is
like you set something to export, you walk away, and you're thinking you're going to go do something in that amount of time, and then all of a sudden you hear the ding, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even have time to think about what I was going to do, and it's done.
Right. It prevented me wanting to edit on 2 computers at the same time. Do you know? Do you ever heard of this thing? What is this called?
Oh, is that the C200 dock for the MacBook Pro?
Yeah, I have it, and it's not amazing. It's horrible. It only works on one side. It only works on one side. It's supposed to work on both sides because this thing. Okay, so the problem with this thing is we're on the subject. We might as well go through this. This is important stuff. The reason why I bought this USB Type-C thing was so I could get those speeds. I thought this was gonna help me, and it works. But if you move it a little bit, it breaks connection. Tell me about it.
So I'm using this. This is the competitors to C200. I don't know how you say it.
That just came out?
This is Hutu. No, this has been out since the 2016 MacBook Pro came out. Basically, it's just one USB-C kind of dongle thing, and then it's got SD UHS-2 reader, and then
is that not what this is? Is that what that was?
I don't know. A lot of the ones that were released when the new MacBook Pro, or when the 2016 MacBook Pro.
This was just released maybe a month ago.
Then it's probably UHS-2 capable.
But it's still shitty.
A lot of the ones that have recently come
out. Don't let it fool you. It's still.
Does yours have? Mine also has HDMI on the end of it too. If I want to run out to a monitor. And does yours
HDMI,
have power pass through? Well, yep.
Power, and you could actually do data too. So you could run, I could run my monitor off of one of these ports.
Right.
And I could charge it at the same time. And there's 2 of them. There's this one, and then there's another one.
I see. So you get 2 extra USB. So basically, it gives you the 2 USB-C ports back.
Kind of, but not really.
Because you don't get the speed.
One of them sucks, and one of them is data. One of them is good and is right. One of them is just stupid. It's just for charging, and it's not good for data.
One thing that I would say that I wish they had changed on the 2017 revision of the MacBook Pro, they really should have added the SD card reader. That's just something that should have never gone away.
Oh my God, because it made me buy this. I didn't need this till then. That's the only reason why I needed it.
Everything I'm okay with. I'm okay with the USB-C. I actually enjoy USB-C. Although some of the USB-C connectors, I feel like they don't go in all the way. They're kind of shitty, and they kind of fall out all the time, and it's really freaking annoying. But you can't love it all, But as far as as far as a machine, it's getting the job done. That's for sure.
No, oh my God, it's amazing. This made it amazing. This made it amazing. Okay, so this untethered me from the Drobo. So the Drobo was the only way, because the Drobo was the only way I could hit 350 speeds.
Right.
I was only hitting 350 with the Drobo beforehand. So this put 450 in my pocket. And it was ticking at 550 at times.
I used the competitor to the G Technologies. I forget what it's called, and I don't have it here with me, but
you're talking about the Samsung T3?
Yeah, the T3. Do you use the T3? Have you ever used it?
The only reason why I got this is because when I bought the new MacBook Pro, they gave me $150 worth of gift cards. So I was like, what can I buy that I need? Then they got SSD hard drives. I was like, I'm going to buy a hard drive. That's exactly what I'm going to buy. So I found the hard drive was $350, so I got it for $150 off of $350. So
I actually
it was $200.
Did the same thing, except they did it with these Porsche design style USB-C portable drives. Doesn't require any other cables, and it fits the the nice fit and finish of the MacBook Pro if you get the space gray model. But it doesn't have the speed capability that the T3 or the one that you have does.
You shouldn't even brought that up then. I mean, you should have left it where it was at. You should have looked at it and be like, no, buddy.
See, I got it on the promotion and didn't even realize that the speed was not where it should have been for the new connectors.
Yeah, that SanDisk. I'm with that. I'm with that all day. I'm with that Drobo. I'm with the walking in the middle of the gas. It's horrible. Right now, there's no good USB Type-C dongles. There's none. There's no good ones yet. They haven't made the ultimate one. You can buy a USB-C or USB 3 card reader and get exactly what you want from the card reader. You'll get and your computer has USB 3.0. They haven't made that yet. I got this stupid J5. They gave it to me for free on accident from what is it? It's USB Type-C. It gives me like networking. I don't even know if this works. I never got it to work yet. And they give me all this stuff, but that only works because because I got this. A bunch of. So this one works very well, and I loved it. But now to use it, I have to. It looks stupid. It looks so stupid. I don't want to use it. It's basically I'm like embarrassed to run it. Even like you can't see my desk, but right now it's
dongles upon dongles upon dongles. What I've done is I've adopted all of my USB 3A. I think it is the original USB 3A connectors. I've adopted all of them with little USB-C connectors, so I could just connect them straight in.
But you can't really put two of them in the same side.
Because they're so wide. It's so annoying. I have to use my power on one side, one dongle adapter on this thing. Then on the other one, I can only have one plugged in because it's too fat and I can't stick both of them.
I'm glad we're having this conversation. You know what else I have? We're just getting started. I have the Kingston dock with power device, USB Type-C. I have that.
Oh, I think I know which one. I think I know which one you're talking about. I almost bought
that shit is horrible, dude. The USB connections is USB like 1.0. You only could run like a mouse off of them. Like you can't transfer files. You can't use anything special. It's horrible. It's stupid. No FireWire 400. Yeah.
Oh God.
I have a fire. I remember when I used to edit off FireWire 400. So
I remember. Okay, let me get this. Hang on one second.
He got it in arm's reach, guys. There he goes. Get that back on.
Okay. This
FireWire was the shit. FireWire was the shit. I'm mad.
Is a FireWire capable camera? look how old.
You talking about the mini FireWire cable out? Like it looks like a bee.
It's so dusty. I just have it sitting over here for no reason at all. But
that's crazy.
This takes mini FireWire. Yes.
It looks like a bee. I told you, it looks like a bee.
Mini FireWire.
I have those cables in my dad's basement. That's where they're located. I had the HPX 200.
Oh yeah, yes, of course.
That was the first camera I had. And before I had that, I had the Sony Handycams, and they had the same port. That's how you got to
how far we've come.
How far? I'm definitely happy that I am shooting digital. I would, if they could just add the SATA to the A7S Mark III, I would be happy. I have to think about it right now. All these numbers are crunching, guys. When SATA capable, if they could just make a camera with SATA, my friend was gonna make his own camera. P2 cards, I hated P2 cards. I didn't even have any P2 cards. I hated P2 cards so bad I had the ATX 200 and never had them. I only rented them.
P2 cards are terrible. X by S cards were terrible too. There's several other formats that are just terrible.
P2 cards were horrible. No, they were the original CFast.
Overpriced.
I mean, they
for
were
no
super
reason.
over. They were. I mean, if you could afford it, I mean, you definitely paid to win on that one because you were winning if you could afford it. But
Yeah, and I'm just glad that we're no longer shooting mini DV tape.
oh, I lost a whole box full of memories.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I lost a whole box. I can't find these DVD tapes. I went through my dad's whole basement. I was going to convert them because I had some stuff on there that I needed to get out, and I just don't even know where they're at. I'm glad they're gone too.
Yeah, I mean, we've come so far from, you know, those days, the mini DV and everything, to where we are now with C200, EVA1, all the cameras that are coming out in the near future. What are your thoughts on what's on the horizon for the next year or two? Rumors, well, it's not rumors. They did say that 8K is coming in 2020 for the Olympics. What are your thoughts on that?
I think right now we should be thinking 4K. We should be taking 4K seriously. That's what needs to be taken seriously. I do understand. Okay, 8K is not as spectacular as 4K was when the Red One came out. The Red One made 4K spectacular. There hasn't been that resolution hit. Ari is the only thing that hits that resolution hit where you're shooting Ari, now you're shooting for real. You know what I mean? You're hitting that price point. The only way you can buy into the future really now is buying into Ari. Or Red Dragon, Snapdragon, what is it called? Super Dragon?
With the
I don't know.
I think it's the
weapon.
The weapon. This division sensor, yeah.
The weapon would be something that you have to buy into to hit that price point. You know what I mean? That's when you start getting the images that start looking stupid amazing. Other than that, I mean, we're not really, there's no real 4Ks right now. If you're not shooting 4K right now, if you're shooting 1080, that means you got no money. That means you can't afford it. That's all it means.
It's true. I mean, right now, 4K has never been cheaper. Cameras like the G7.
No, it's not that 4K is not cheaper. It's just that the computers, like with the computers that we have now, there's no excuse to shoot 1080 anymore. We're done with it. 1080 is like yesterday now because our computer allowed us.
A lot of people will make the argument that we're still only in 1080. The mass majority of people are only watching.
We're not. Me and you're not. They are.
We're only uploading in 1080.
No, they are in 1080. We're in 4K right now. I'm never going to do no more 1080. The only reason I do 1080 is when I shoot with this one wedding company that requires it, and they pay me enough money to do it. Other than that, everything's 4K now. I got 256K cards or 256 gigabyte cards. I don't care anymore. I'm shooting 4K only. I bought the cards to do so.
I totally agree. I only shoot 4K now. I will never go back. The lowest that I'll go is 2K, and the only reason why I would go to 1080 is so that I could get higher frame rates. That's really the reason.
Yeah, higher frame rates, and then I would edit it in 1080 timeline. That's cool.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely.
I could dig that. Take a 4K image, stretch it out, make 4 of them. Yeah, I'm with that. I'm never gonna shoot 1080 though. I'm done. That's for the birds.
When I see the images from 4K compared to 1080, it's like night and day.
Is it? I never really did a comparison. Maybe I should. I should take the A7S, shoot it 1080, do the A7S, and shoot it 4K.
Well, you really won't see that much of a difference if you do it camera. Basically, if you use the same camera. If you use a 1080 camera, compare that to a 4K camera, then you will really see the difference. For example, if you take the 5D Mark III, which is a quote-unquote 1080p camera, even though it's really upscaled 720,
is it?
It is, yeah. You compare that to something like the Sony A7SIII.
Really?
My God, the difference is so striking. Yeah, the 5D Mark III is not true 1080. It's 720p upscaled.
It's a really good 720. It's a really good 720.
When it came out, yeah, it definitely kicked some ass. That's for sure.
No, I loved it when it first. The Friday Mark III made me. I was kind of mad, and then I shot it in the garbage can at the Calumet store downtown Chicago. So they just got the camera in, and I was like, "How?" It's the Calumet is just full of windows, like it's just windows, window, and it's super bright in there. So the only place I could like do low light testing was I shot the guy's trash can underneath his desk. And when I got to see the bottom of the trash can, I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying this camera. This is mine. This is my camera now. Forget that. I can shoot the bottom of the trash can. Forget that. This is my camera. I knew the 5D Mark II couldn't do that. It would break apart. And I was like, nah, that's over.
Yeah, the 5D Mark II was great when it came out. The RAW with Magic Lantern was great when it came out, but now
I hear that people are really happy. I never shot RAW. I tried to do it, and then I bought like 4 of the big cards with a 100,000 or 1000X, and then the RAW, the RAW would like corrupt the camera, and then it wouldn't work. So I never got it to work. Only saw theories. That guy said he's going. Who is it? Johnny Sell.
Thanks, Johnny Self. Thanks for coming by, stopping by, watching the live stream. Appreciate it.
If you hear us talking for this long, I'm with you. We are at the end. We have to wrap this up.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap everything up. We'll kind of encompass everything that we talked about. But is there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we wrap up?
No, I'm good. This was an amazing day.
All right. So we talked about the C200, the Panasonic EVA-1, cameras on the horizons, the G Master lenses, Apple's new announcements. All in all, I'd say if you are looking at the C200 or you're looking at the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro or the 4.6K, or you're looking at the EVA-1, I would personally say wait and not only just see what people say about those cameras, but just give it some time, because this always happens every time new cameras are announced. Everybody wants to get the latest, greatest thing. You want to jump on board and you want to get the nicest, newest camera. But usually right around the corner, something better comes out and the cycle starts all over again. So be wary of that.
I think that you got to, like, if you're going to upgrade or you're going to spend a certain kind of money, you have to be prepared to spend all the money that it's going to take to get that camera functional. Like, if you're just looking for a body, it's not worth it. If you have Canon glass, I would suggest you go with a Canon camera. Like, if you just invested $2-3 grand to the left, do it. If you're not, like, when I went to Sony, it cost me a lot of money to learn it. And it cost me a lot of money for the lenses. And it wasn't just easy. The only reason why I probably bought 2 Sony cameras is because I already bought 2 Sony lenses. I was like, might as well. I own 2 lenses.
Right.
That's the reason why I was interested in getting the FS7. I was like, yeah, it uses my lenses. It's a pretty good logical way of upgrading now. So I get it. If Sony comes out with a mid-grade camera, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go with that over anything else, if I have the money, which I don't.
I'm just interested to see, what Sony brings to the table now that Canon has laid their cards out on the table, and so has Panasonic. Because again, when comparing everything, I think the gold standard right now is the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K. So when we're looking at everything else, I'm very interested to see what Sony has. Have you seen the new Fujinon lenses that have just come out for Sony?
No. I'm interested.
They look amazing. They look absolutely amazing.
I will test them. Look, if we continue doing this, okay, lastly, if you just came to the end of this thing, shout out to DSLR Film Noob, because I wouldn't know half the things I know if they did. I watched every episode they have ever had. So, they hit me to so much stuff. I'm willing to rent lenses or whatever and do testing for anything that we got. Like, if there's something we don't know about, we have to, like, rent it. and put comparisons out there. Because I think that not everybody understands the real world applications of some of these cameras and lenses and pushes them. I'm really thinking that that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really think, you know, you should. I'm all about trying before you buy. So I really am a proponent about renting, because when you rent, yes, you do spend a little bit of money. It may cost a little bit to rent the package, but you can go hands-on, see if it's something that you're interested in, see if it's going to be a tool that works for you, and you can know before you drop, you know, $5, $6, $7, $8,000, and you're locked in, whether or not this is going to be a product that you actually want to use.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Let's do this. I'm good. See you guys later.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you're watching on the live stream, all the links for everything that we talked about will be below. You can check out all of the show notes as well. We'll have a link to the show notes as well in case you want to follow along. Thank you so much for watching. Check out all of our social media links below. Stan, thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely. See you guys later.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good night.